What is up, guys? My name is Michael. If this is your first time here on the channel, welcome, hello, thank you for watching. I made a poll on Instagram about a week ago, seeing if you guys would want to watch a comparison video of a crop sensor to a full frame. So today, we're going to be comparing the Sony a6-300 to the Sony a7 III. Let's get into it. So the biggest thing and difference between a full frame and a crop sensor is going to be the sensor size. So a full frame Sony a7 III, for example, is going to be 36 millimeters by 24, while a crop sensor is going to be 22 by 14 millimeters. Anything less than 35 millimeters is considered a crop sensor. So anything such as the a6300, the a6000, or the a6500, all going to be categorized as crop sensors. Now, a huge reason why I got the full frame is because of the ISO and the low light capabilities. The ISO on a crop sensor is going to be 100 to 25,600. A full frame is literally double that, which means in low light situations where you don't have as much natural light, or if you're shooting in the dark, you're going to be able to bump up that ISO and have better quality with less light. So all around, the full frame gives you such a head start in low light situations, which honestly you find yourself in a lot if you do not have or bring extra lighting equipment. Another thing that the full frame jumps up on the crop sensor is the shutter. The shutter on the full frame is going to be 1 by 8,000, and the shutter on this crop sensor is going to be 1 by 4,000. So this too is doubled, making the full frame a lot more superior. Some other small yet really important details of the comparison from the full frame to the crop sensor is going to be the sensor pixel area. The pixel area on the full frame is going to be 35.5, on the crop sensor is going to be 15.28. So literally more than double. And that ties into the focal points. So the focus points on the full frame is going to be 693 points versus 428. So that really lets you know the full frame is going to have a lot more focus points on the camera when you're taking a photo and or recording a video. And one super important thing is the battery life. The battery life on the full frame is going to be able to last for 610 photos versus 400 on the crop sensor. Let's just dive into the full frame Sony a7 III. One of the biggest and most effective things that this camera gives you over the crop sensor, a broader dynamic range in low light situations because of the high ISO capabilities. And in turn, this is going to give you a higher quality image. So one other thing that's great about the full frames is the wider variety of lenses, both for photography and filmmaking. When you compare, say, product photography to landscape or architecture, you're going to need a wider focal length. Thus, gives a photographer or videographer a lot more ease because you have a lot of options. One downturn of the full frame camera is the higher price point. The Sony a7 III, I just bought the body for around $1,300. So yeah, full frame coupled with larger lenses is going to be a little bit pricier, but the quality is there, and investing into better equipment down the road is always a safe bet. So a couple neat things about the full frame is it has eye autofocus tracking, whether it's human or animal. That's one thing I didn't even know before buying it, which is super cool. Sony a7 III will also let you know when you're taking a photo if there's flickering. Really helps the photographer know if A, they're being stabilized enough, or C, they need to go and get a tripod. And it also does allow you to have time-lapse recording, which is super awesome for any landscape videography and or photography that you want to do, especially in the Seattle area because we have the beautiful Mount Rainier. I know that's something I'm definitely going to go out and try and use. And something super small but very effective and nice is the Sony a7 III has a 2-card SD slot. So I know a handful of you guys watching this, if you're into photography or videography, know the feeling when you're on a shoot and your SD card gets full and you didn't bring another one. The Sony a7 III has got your back. You have 2 SD cards to choose from, makes your life a lot easier, but never rely on that. Always bring other SD cards because you never know what can happen. Now on to the crop sensor Sonys. So like I said before, I have the Sony a6300. I've had it for about 3 years. It has done me more than well. Super thankful that I was able to start off with Sony and really max out its capabilities. one of the best benefits of buying a crop sensor is going to be the price. I bought my body and 2 kit lenses for around $1,000 used, but I did end up upgrading to a Sigma Art 18-35, which was such a game changer for me. Those kit lenses, trash. So one thing I didn't know about the crop sensors is that they're actually very, very effective for sports and wildlife photography. And this is because of the extra reach from the crop sensor multiplier. The crop sensor crops in your image, in effect being closer to your subject. One fun fact that I actually didn't even know is that most cinema films are shot on a crop sensor. When I found that out, that seriously blew my mind, because I feel like everybody in the filmmaking and content creation world is always trying to get the full frame. And yes, while the full frame is effective and can give you a higher quality of photo or video, coupled with some nice glass, a crop sensor can do just as well. So there's not too much to talk about the crop sensor, because at the end of the day, the full frame beats it out in a handful of different ways. But the nice thing about the crop sensor is that it still shoots in 1080p and still shoots in 4K, meaning that the quality of video can still be very, very good. I think the only time you really need to upgrade is when you've outgrown your old gear. And like I said, I've had the Sony a6300 for about 4 years now, and since I am doing content creation full-time now, I thought it was a perfect time to invest into some higher quality gear. Thus, why I have the Sony a7 III. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really hope you guys took some value and learned something from comparing the full frame and the crop sensor capabilities. Like I said, the type of gear that you have doesn't always matter. I always held true to holding on and learning and mastering my old gear. The Sony a6300 that I had and the Sigma Art 18-35, I learned that like the back of my hand. I had it for about 4 years. So when it came to upgrading, I knew I was ready for something bigger and better in order to help me learn and really take that next step in my journey. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it all. Comment down below what gear you guys are shooting with right now. Regardless or not, if you're just starting out or if you've been in the game, I'd love to hear the gear, the nerd talk. I'm all about it. But I will see you guys in the next video.